So let's go back to quad view, and I'm going to be working in this lower left hand window, the back window. And go to the single window here. Okay. If I want to add geometry, there's a couple of ways to do that. And I'm going to show you both of them. Now, if you'll go to the multiply tab and the subdivide menu, and you'll see the knife tool and the subdivide tool. And I'm going to use the knife tool here and just draw right through that. And let's go to the quad view again. And if I hit enter, I commit to that, and it creates a line right where I use the knife tool. Okay. But the thing about the knife tool is you don't have any control as to how high or low that sits unless you do it manually. Because if I were to select this edge by going to edge and hold down the shift key and select, and then go to select loop. Okay, and grab the T key and hold down the control and move it in a vertical manner, and see how it widens or it narrows that section. There's a way to do that without changing the size of the pot and any and the diameter of it. Okay. Well, it gives that illusion it's actually the same size in that area. It's just because the lower half is larger than the edge that I'm moving. It's appearing that it's getting smaller. Okay, let's hit edit undo. Alrighty, and edit undo again, edit undo. And I want to get rid of that. Now, there's another tool that you can use to kind of have some control over the size of that. Kind of get in the habit of selecting more than one polygon when you select loop. Because, I mean, you can select one in this case and go to select loop, and it'll select around the circumference of it. But say, for instance, you wanted to select these row polys vertically. If I select this, it's still going to select around it rather than up and down. So you want to select two polygons and then go to select loop, and it works in that direction. So depending on which way you want to select geometry, just get in the habit of selecting more than one or two polygons. Let's see what this does if I click select loop. Select loop again, and when you're manipulating geometry and deleting geometry, it changes the start and end points of how far your selection will go. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, there's another tool that you can use other than the knife tool to add geometry, and you'll find it under the multiply tab and subdivide. Let's select a couple of these and select loop and see what the subdivide does. What subdivide does, it brings up this it subdivides polygons. Remember, each square is a polygon, or 4-point triangle is 4-point poly is a polygon that can be subdivided. So if you click OK, what it does, it creates it actually dices that up into 4 sections each polygon, and it actually creates 5-point polys. Let's go to the polygon points mode so I can show you this. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-point polys in this section here. So if you wanted to do that, you can, but let's undo that and look at something different. Okay, we can go down to subdivide, and where it says Bandsaw Pro, if you don't want to subdivide your polygons into 4 sections. So Bandsaw Pro, hit Infonumeric, and it brings up the Bandsaw Pro numeric panel, and you can change the value. Remember how we talked about earlier about how moving that line, and when we use the knife tool. But in Bandsaw Pro, it allows you to move that line, and it moves along that surface to keep everything even, rather than pinching this in and changing the look of your pot on the side. So that's a way of adding geometry without deforming your object. Okay, let's commit to Bandsaw Pro, and exit out, deselect, and tab. Alrighty. Now, one other thing, let's look at the selection tool again. Let's select these 2 polygons here and go to select, loop again, and look at a couple other items here that may be useful to you. Let's go to select previous loop. What that does, it selects the loop above the one that was originally selected, and the select next goes to the next one. And let's select these 2 polys here, select loop, and select next, and it selects the next row of polys. Okay, let's look at one other thing here, and we'll be done. Let's look at the view menu, and I'm going to select loop again. And if I wanted to hide what I've selected, I simply go to view, and down in the view menu, hide selected. That means it'll hide everything that's selected, which would be the band that's running around it. Or I can unhide, and let's select it again, and select loop, and let's do a invert selection. So if you go to selection, invert, and you want to hide everything but that row, just go back to the view menu and select hide selected, and then that band is there. So if you wanted to name that or something, you would have to select it first. I mean, that would be a good way of just isolating that band if you wanted to. So, okay. Alrighty, I hope this tutorial has been useful, and keep watching. Send me some feedback. Let me know what you, whether this was helpful or not. And thank you guys for watching. Take care.